How many, by a show of hands, like waiting? I don't see those hands, and I can't see mine either. Oswald Chambers said, if our hopes are being disappointed just now, it means they are being purified. One of the greatest strains in life can be the strain of waiting on God. Listen to Psalm 27:14. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord. Then Isaiah 40 verses 28 to 31. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, does not become weary or tired. His understanding is inscrutable. He gives strength to the weary. And to him who lacks might, he increases power. Though youths grow weary and tired, and vigorous young men stumble badly, yet those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not be weary. If we're honest, few of us are good at waiting on things. If we have ever lived in a I need it now, I can't wait time in history, it's today. Amazon delivers within hours. We've got microwaves, no appointment necessary, faster computers and smartphones. We don't measure time in days or hours or minutes now, it's down to seconds. And this mindset, unfortunately, spills over into our Christian life. Lord, I need answers now. I'm at the drive-up window now. Lord, I need action now. To wait on the Lord means the best answer. And not to wait on the Lord can create a much larger problem. You see, when we don't wait or grow impatient, we can become irritable, frustrated, confused, and rash. Consider these biblical examples of failing the waiting test. Eve ate the bad fruit. Abraham and Sarah didn't wait, and Hagar bore Ishmael, which created problems then and which continue to this very day in the Middle East. Esau sold his birthright because he wanted food now. The children of Israel wouldn't wait for Moses to come down from the mountain, but said, give us a golden calf, and 3,000 died. Moses became impatient and struck the rock for water. And as a result, he didn't get to enter the promised land. Just what is God trying to accomplish in our lives when we are forced to wait? The answer is His sovereign plan. Like a blueprint, it's drawn up to the smallest detail. Romans 8:28 must always be linked to verse 29. And why do all things work together for good? For those God foreknew, He also predestined to be conformed to the image of His Son. You see, God is never pressured or rushed. Consider Jesus and His time on earth and what He did. He was never in a hurry, but always moving and working according to the Father's timetable. Think about waiting as it applies to a good fisherman or a good cook. And then consider the actions of our good God as He divinely works in our lives in His time. The Christian, the saint of God, is a bow and arrow in the hands of the divine archer. The saint can't always see the importance or understand the delay, but God has a specific target. Our scripture said, wait on the Lord. Have courage. He will strengthen your heart. The Lord shall renew your strength. Courage is confidence that God is always hearing. He sees and He's acting on our behalf. As we wait, He will strengthen us. He will renew our strength as we tend to get weary in life. He will give us the ability to persevere, stand, and endure and realize that He is behind all things. Waiting builds character and renewed confidence that God is always in control and He wants to give us His best. Moses experienced a 40-year preparation in order to perform his greatest work, leading Israel to the promised land. Joshua waited and obeyed the command of God for days before the walls of Jericho fell. Jacob worked 7 years for Rachel, but got Leah. And think about what Jesus said to his own disciples in Acts 1:4. Wait for the promise of the Father. Chuck Swindoll told this story in one of his many books that he authored. There was a son and a father who farmed a little piece of land together. Several times a year, they would load up an old ox-drawn cart with vegetables and go to the nearest city to sell the produce. Except for a name and a patch of ground, the father and son had little in common. The father believed in taking it easy. The son was the go-getter type. One morning, bright and early, they hitched up the ox to the loaded wagon and started their long journey. The son figured if they'd walked faster and kept going all day and night, they'd make the market by early the next morning. So the son kept prodding the ox with a stick, urging it to get a move on. Take it easy, said the father. You'll last longer. But the son replied, if we get to the market ahead of the others, we'll have a better chance of getting good prices. And how did the father respond? He just pulled his hat down over his eyes and fell fast asleep on the seat. Irritated, the young man kept goading that ox to walk faster. About 4 hours later and 4 miles down the road, they came to a little old house. The father woke up and smiled and said, here's your uncle's house. Let's stop in and say hello. But we've lost almost an hour already, the son complained. Then a few more minutes won't matter. My brother and I live so close, yet we see each other so seldom, answered the father. But the boy fidgeted and fumed while the two old men laughed and talked for almost an hour. When they started again, the father took his turn leading the ox. As they approached a little fork in the road, the father led the ox to the right. The left is much shorter way, said the son. I know it, replied the old man, but this way is so much prettier. The son said, don't you have any respect for time? Oh, I respect it very much. That's why I like to use it to look at the beauty and enjoy each moment to the fullest. Well, that winding path led through graceful meadows, wildflowers, and a long rippling stream, all of which the young man missed as he churned within. He didn't even notice how lovely the sunset was that day. Twilight found them in what looked like a huge, colorful garden. The old man breathed in the aroma, listened to the bubbling brook, and pulled the ox to a halt. Let's sleep here. The son snapped back and said, this is the last trip I'm taking with you. You're more interested in watching sunsets and smelling flowers than in making money. Why, that's the nicest thing you said in a long time, smiled the dad. A couple of minutes later, the dad was snoring as the boy glared back at the stars. The night dragged slowly on and the sun was restless. But before sunset, the son shook the father awake and they hitched up the cart and went on. About a mile down the road, they happened upon a farmer trying to pull his cart out of the ditch. Let's give him a hand, whispered the old man. And lose more time, the boy exploded. Relax, son. You might be in the ditch sometime yourself. We need to help others in need. The boy looked away in anger. It was almost 8 a.m. that morning by the time the other cart was back on the road. Suddenly, a great flash split the sky. What sounded like thunder followed, and beyond the hills the sky grew dark. Looks like a big rain in the city, said the old man. If we had hurried, we would almost sold out by now, grumbled the son. Take it easy. You'll last longer, and you'll enjoy life so much more, said the old gentleman. It was late afternoon by the time they got to the hill overlooking the city. They stopped and stared down on it for a long, long time with an arm around each other. Then the son said this, I see what you mean, Dad. And they turned their cart around and began to roll slowly away from what had once been the city of Hiroshima, where we dropped the atomic bomb in World War II. Psalm 62:5 says, let all that I am wait quietly before God, for my hope is in him. Matthew 6:34 can help all of us with this purpose called waiting. So don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for today. Here's to our waiting. And until next time, this is Real Life, and I'm Eric Godfrey.